have to thank the organizing committee, which theoretically I'm a member of, but I must say I've been very derelict by my other duties and obligations in many directions. The result has been amazing. I think there's been, you've shown the value of virtual that brought so many people together from everywhere. But I do miss real people, and I hope that at the next meetings we can all be sharing the same space. We may still be wearing masks and be socially distancing in some way, but I hope we do get together in person. So I'd just like to say very few things because it's late. I think that the survey that was done is quite amazing. And I would suggest this has been a wonderful thing to happen at this stage of the meeting and sets the stage for the design of the next meetings, because there's so much information, so much content in your responses. So I think it's very, very great. And I think, of course, that knowledge helps. That's really fantastic. It supports science and all the rest of it. But I'll get a little emotional now and talk about these children. Daisy's story. Daisy was a little girl in England who was about to lose her last eye and came to Toronto with the help of many people to try to save the last eye. Like many children who travel far from home for care for retinoblastoma, it didn't work. Daisy did lose her last eye and is a very productive little girl with no vision and very, very eager moving forward. But Daisy's Eye Cancer Fund was formed about bringing her to Toronto. And then I'll tell you a little bit about the little girl in the middle of the screen here, Ratty. This is a picture that, the left picture, that sitting at the same desk I'm sitting at right now, many, many years ago, showed up in my email from Abby White. I didn't really know Abby White, but she connected to me through Daisy's family. And I looked at the picture and the story was sad. It's in your program. She had recurrence of retinoblastoma in her orbit, and the treatment about to be carried out in Kenya was, in Botswana, was exenteration of the whole orbit. And many people that Abby reached out to intervened and talked to the surgeon and said, no, don't do this. There's other ways to treat this disease at this time. And that started Ratty on her trip to SickKids. But the first step was her parents, who had gone to, when she was first diagnosed, they had asked for help from the British Retinoblastoma Society by email. That email was never answered. When she had this recurrence in her orbit, the email was answered by Abby White. And Abby said, as many of you know Abby White, I'm sorry she's not with us today, but she took all her energy and power. She's a very powerful person. And she had soon Ratty and her mother in Johannesburg airport waiting for the plane ticket. And the airline had to accept Abby White's own visa to get them on the plane. Ratty's mother said she had no idea if this was real. Was this a hoax? Where was she going? But she jumped off, like many parents will do, and went to England. The first step was England, but she didn't have still permission to come into Canada. So Abby kept her at home at her own apartment with her mother until she got her approval for Canada, and then she came to Canada. She's a beautiful little girl. The first thing we did was an EUA, and we realized the tumor was quite extensive, but we always put in artificial eyes. The day we take out the enucleation, we give the child an artificial eye. So Ratty got an artificial eye right away, and then with Matt Milne's help, got a very beautiful eye. And you can see her in the right-hand picture is Ratty, and you wouldn't know which eye is artificial anymore. But this very sad and beautiful thing is when she was recovering with an eye, all of a sudden, she thought she was all better. She was whole now because she looked like others because she had an eye. She'd never had an artificial eye before. So that was beautiful. That gave her confidence. She was a wonderful child and we loved her very much, but she didn't survive. But out of her trials came World Eye Cancer Hope. which was Daisy's Eye Cancer Fund, that reached to Kenya and around the world, started these meetings, and now is World Eye Cancer. And that is a very powerful word, hope. So I think this meeting has summed a lot of that up. I think it's a beautiful way for us all to work together, and my congratulations to all the attendees and all the amazing dedicated organizers. I look forward to the next meeting very much. But I'd like to just tell you about one other person, and that's Michel Ongaro, who I was delighted to hear from today. He spoke very eloquently. Before I give you Michel's music, which he didn't do, but he's a fantastic musician. I'll tell you about when I met him. I was at this meeting in Mombasa, and he played. Then we didn't have any COVID, so we were all dancing out by the beach and in the evening, and he was our guest musician. He was also a member of the board of the Kenya National Retinoblastoma Strategy. And he played beautifully. After he finished, I went up to him and met him and asked if he'd like to go for a walk on the beach. And he said, oh, I've never done that. And we rolled up our pants, his pants, and we walked in the surf and in the sand. And he had never done this in his life. And I described to him the stars, and he could feel the beautiful ocean blowing by, and he's become a very good friend. So I leave you at this wonderful, wonderful meeting with music of Michel Ongaro.
There it is.
Napenda unavozungumza, napenda unavojieleza, napenda.
We could all dance.
Napenda unavocheka, napenda unavonitekesha, napenda unavonizuzua, napenda.